Calisthenics and hybrid strength training are not bodybuilding. However, if you're trying to pretend that bodybuilding principles aren't relevant to you and you're wanting to make good progress at either of these, you're nerfing yourself hard. Let's clear something up. If you build more muscle, you will build more strength. Just because you can get stronger without gaining muscle doesn't mean that the opposite is true. When it comes to strength, you can make all sorts of coordination and neurological improvements that'll make your body better and more efficient at executing a specific movement. But at the end of the day, it's your muscles that are producing the force and your nervous system is just the driver at the wheel. And no matter how skilled the driver is, their performance is always going to be limited by the quality and power of the car that they're driving. Your nervous system is the driver, your muscles are the car, but what's the track? It's the movement itself. Even a bad driver will hit impressive speeds if you stick them in a Ferrari and give them a straight bit of road, because when you remove the technical demands, it's the power of the car that's going to matter more. This is like handing someone a dumbbell and asking them to curl it. You don't need hundreds of hours and thousands of reps to practice getting efficient at something as basic as a dumbbell curl, so generally it's going to be the people with the biggest biceps and strongest engine that are going to lift the heaviest dumbbells. When you up the technical demands though, it's the skill of the driver or your nervous system that suddenly starts to become more important. Technical skills like planches, muscle ups, or Olympic weightlifts all take so much more skill to execute, so much more practice, and so many more reps developing the movement patterns that you need to coordinate and balance and synergize all the muscles and stability that you need to execute such a complex movement well. But when you see someone like Larry Wheels having a go at calisthenics, you realize pretty quick that even when the driver isn't that good, just the raw power of the engine will still get results. In contrast, someone coming off the couch with no muscle at all is never going to be able to purely skill their way to advanced lifts, because no matter how efficient at a movement they get, eventually they're going to run into a problem where the power that they have to draw on becomes the limiting factor. This means that getting really strong at a particular movement does take a lot of specific practice of that movement, but it also means that getting really strong at that movement isn't necessarily going to transfer to good strength in other movements, even ones that have a lot of overlap with the same type of muscles that you use. What does have more transferability is just having more muscle to work with. Any movements need your muscles to contract, and the more muscle you have, the more contractile potential those muscles have to generate force, no matter the movement. Just look at Larry hitting some 90-degree handstand push-ups, because even though he hasn't spent much time building the balance and coordination and skill components of this, just the raw strength and muscle he has means he doesn't even need to be that good at the execution, because the kind of balance and technique issues that would cause most people to fail a movement like this, he can literally just muscle his way through using raw strength to make corrections mid-rep, because the actual load of his body weight is so light for his massive chest and shoulders. So yes, focusing a large amount of your training on muscle growth is a goated strategy even when your goal is strength. Powerlifters and Olympic lifters have been doing this for decades alongside their main lifts because it works. This doesn't mean that you're going to want to drop a lot of your training for your strength specific movements like pull-ups, dips, handstand push-ups, planches. It means that you're going to want to adjust your sets, reps, and effort depending on whether or not it's an exercise you're using for specific strength, or if it's an exercise you're using to build the muscle tissue that's going to increase your strength ceiling. Always put your strength-specific movements at the start of the workout when you're fresh, and you're going to want to keep the load high, meaning using a high weight or a hard variation, reps low, usually in a 1 to 5 rep range or a 3 to 10 second hold range. You're going to want to use sub-maximal effort, meaning that you mostly stay away from failure, and you do this for a moderate to high number of sets in the 3 to 6 range or sometimes even higher. This way you'll maximize your number of high-quality reps or holds using heavy loads, which will be a nice big dose of nervous system and skill-specific training without burning yourself out with long extended sets or pushing too close to failure frequently. This is usually only going to be for 2 or 3 exercises, then the rest of your session is going to be dedicated towards hypertrophy training. This means that you pick stable exercises that don't have a lot of skill, coordination, and balance demands, you push them close to failure, and you only do it for a low number of sets. I'm talking only 1 or 2, sometimes maybe 3, depending on what your week looks like. You can even keep a lot of these specific to the same movement patterns that you're using for strength movements, like using advanced pike push-ups to develop your front delts, using pseudo planche push-ups to build that upper chest, or using front lever raises or cable pullovers to develop your lats. Mix in whatever exercise you need to make sure you don't miss a muscle or a range of motion altogether, and you'll guarantee yourself a nice steady rate of muscle growth so you can keep developing that powerful engine for you to draw on when you put it to use for those strength goals. And if you want a detailed breakdown on how to put this method into practice, check out this video.